Ready, set, go. No. Whoopsie. Gonna hurt. Huh. No touch in there. Got to change this glass before I put the quarter on. Had to, I think all that's done. Painted, weld painted. The metal works and things. A little bulgy in it. A little bulgy. Same thing. So we got to do a little shrinking. See you in a minute. Hey, that minute turned into about 2 months. But what I have done, I recoated all my panels. I stripped the E-coat off and got a good epoxy primer. Actually, I used SPI on this one. And I saw a video on YouTube. A guy did some testing with some OSFO and SPI, and I was impressed by the adhesion, the durability of it, the Bondo body filler sticking, and everything went pretty well. Now, the manufacturer of this, SPI, Sam Paul Ingrid, I think that's how you would say it, says that you can use, if you have some light rust or something, or you want to prep your metal a little bit, you can use OSFO. He recommends you put it on, let it sit overnight to treat your rust if it's that bad. Don't neutralize it right away. Leave it overnight. Come back and re-wet it with OSFO to reactivate it, and then neutralize it and clean it off with water really well. Then I think you gotta, let it dry for at least an hour. Sand it with 80 grit, and then you can go ahead and apply your epoxy. So this one's all applied and ready to go. Look at all those little dings. I don't know if you can see them. Tons of little tiny dings in there. Now that the other thing I like about the SPI is it's got a little shine to it. Shows those little dings. Not that the whole panel won't get coated with body filler anyway. I did want to say the OSFO metal prep prior to applying the epoxy, I did not do. I didn't have any rust that I was concerned about. Wasn't concerned about the flash rust or anything because I did everything pretty quickly. So, just wanted to let you know on that. So here's the quarters. I went through, did some shrinking, did a little more metal work to them. The SPI on here, you can see my little little shrink marks. Pretty cool. It really shows everything. And yeah, bare metal doesn't show that much. But if we look down the side of that panel, I mean right here, I don't know if you can see how ripply and crappy that looks. But if you look down the side, damn, down the side, we've got a nice even contour, basically. Don't slide off. Putting quarter panels on those and trying to work them and get metal straight, just really not fun. Also, I did the rear body panel, wherever that is. Oh, I think it's in the other room. Rear body panel back here. I thought, well, might as well do that versus weld it in and then have to do that from the back side and try to spray it and everything. So I did that before we're gonna weld it in. Did my floors, all right, as you can see. Resprayed those because those were a flat from the previous epoxy. And I'll show you right here, see, flat. Not a big deal. Okay, so we're all protected on this side. Now we got to start putting this stuff back together, do a final fit, and start welding stuff on. I have to refit, make sure these are in the right spot. My little, I have them marked here. One here, I want to see if this is another spot. So I'll fit the quarter panel again. Make sure that my holes through the quarter panel are going into this in the right spot. Pull the quarter panel off, put these back in, weld this in, then put the quarter panel back on. Oh, and as you can see, I've done something here. That's my new glass. Did videos on cleaning up my tracks and everything, putting new rollers in. Yeah, I said rollers. I don't have any grease in here. I have a dry lubricant for the moment. If I put grease in the track, if I do any sanding or anything, it's going to get in the track, it's going to mess it up, and you won't be able to clean it out unless you take it all apart and pull it out. And again, I'm doing this because I don't know that I'll be able to get it out afterwards. I have to put a pad here because when the window comes down, it does touch here. So I've got an inner tube that I'm going to cut up. Got big pieces of rubber. That'll give me a little bit of protection right there. And so we've got to get some 3M spray glue and put that on. Making progress, slowly. See you in a minute. All right, well, I cut my little patch out. I have cleaned it with a little metal prep, not metal prep, just prep solve. Golly. And I used this right here to scuff up the back. Remember that little metal perforated thing you got in a tire tube repair kit? It's supposed to scratch it up so it sticks. That works great. And I'll show you right here. Well, this is a non-prep side, and I think you can probably see how shiny that is. And then here's the other side that I roughed up. See how rough that is right there? So I think that'll work. Now we've got to get some glue on her. Let that set up. And I'm just going to use this 3M stuff, you know. I wipe this down. It's actually a little rough, so that'll help. That looks great. Spray this. I hope this is the stuff that I'm thinking it is. And it does say adhesive. I'm thinking it's contact cement. Yep, that's kind of what it is. So we'll let that set up, we'll stick that on, and then we'll go do the other side. You know, fun stuff. And that's also indented a little bit. Every side, each side varies a little because, you know, that's the way it is. For me anyway. I'm sure other people, everything is absolutely perfect. See you in a minute. Alright, just so you all can see, didn't quite go in there as straight as I hoped, because trying to get it underneath that without it touching the other contact cement, yeah, it's a tricky thing. So anyway, it's on there. It's stuck. I mean, I could rip it off if I wanted to, but I don't care. It's gonna do its job, let's put it that way. So down goes the window. It's there first, and then we'll come down in contact there, and all the way down there. So that brings that window all the way down inside, which I don't think we're going to be that far down. It'd be nice, but it interferes with the quarter panel. The hole's not big enough, so it's probably going to be right about there, and that's where that hits. So you see it flops around a little bit, but works nicely for the time being. That little jerk right here will lessen once all the window felts and everything are in. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. Better than it was. The window only went down halfway before, so I think we got a pretty good improvement. Got to do the other side. this rubber mat can act using it like a sound deadener too. Maybe I'll put it all over it. You know what I mean? Nah. See you in a minute. All right, you guys. Got some Clecos in there. Couple up in here. I need to trim that off because that's just rubbing on top of that. Don't really have to, I guess, but you know, I want to. So we've got 2 Clecos in here. And what I'm trying to do is get this in the right spot. Everything's pushed forward as far as it can go. What is my dilemma? Well, my dilemma is I built the wheel well to the quarter panel to where it was. And that's all the way flush mount right where it used to be. It's not moving. I don't remember it being quite that big. Maybe it was. And realistically, let me show you. Keep in mind, I added to that door already. So I'm getting grab that one's too big, to be honest with you. It'll give you an idea of how far off I am right now. I'm that far off, basically, having a nice gap. Oh boy. You can see that's tight up there. Gonna have to put you down for a second. Readjust, and I hope you can see. Should just put the doorpost in, but I don't want to. I want to fight things. I want to make it difficult. So if I added that, I would have that. That would be the perfect gap. This is closer down here. So, yeah, I guess that's the plan. Weld some more. Make some more gaps fit. Now I know my other quarter panel, that one was good over there. I don't have it on yet, but that one surprised me that one went back and fit as well as it did, and this one is not. Anyway, back to where we were. Yeah, I couldn't get this one far enough forward to fix that. But such is life. So, what do we do now? Well, it looks like that hole lines up. See what the Cleco says. There you go. Now this one, I know doesn't. It doesn't, it drilled through here, under here, but it didn't drill into this, the roof. So I need to do that over. Come on. Where's my drill bit? Had 500 of them. Now I don't have any. Oh, come on. And yeah, if you put stuff away, you might be able to find it. Why would you do that? You know, that'd be too simple, too logical. Yeah, I can see daylight right through that. Good. Okay, so we need to move that back about here. Let's go here. That hole good. Okay, so now we're into here. So that's going to be our lineup hole for this. So now we can weld that in place. Yay. Let's do the other side. Well, you see I've already got those. They should be in the other quarters. So, I roll my window down. This is an interesting little piece to fight with. My suggestion is, when you do yours, see, it's attached to here, as you can see. I wanted to leave it because I wanted to have some kind of reference for this. But I recommend you take that off, drill it out, take it off, weld it to your quarter panel where it's supposed to be. That might be even harder to do. Because trying to put this on and slide up under here, slide up underneath that lip and over underneath that lip right there and over these tabs, that's fun. Not that it can't be done, but there's easier ways, I'm sure. Easier ways. So, be back in a minute. Alright, well, it's sitting there, a couple cleacles down here, one here, and it does not go all the way in. I'm gonna have to fix that. Yeah, this was fun. Look at that gap. Man. See you in a minute. we've got the quarter off twice because that little hole that I drilled here, as you can see, missed. So I had to put it back on, drill another hole, and got right in between those two holes. But anyway, we're going to do some welding. I welded up the, there was a hole here for a cleco and the alignments that were here. So I welded those up, as you can see, and got some primer on the back side, so hopefully it won't rust out in my lifetime. Okay, we're going to do some welding up to here. So, wish me luck. Okay, that's about all the damage we can do for now. Let's put a quarter panel back on. Well, I got to grind this off, put some primer on it, put a quarter back on, and go from there in a minute. Okay, well, she's kind of back. Seems like that grows every time I put it on, but it's still tight here, still tight here. I just have to make it work. As I look at it, it looks like the store edge is like forward. I don't know. It's whatever. That's why you just make things fit. Back here is all nice and loose. So, next. Well, I guess we do this one. Take this one back off, weld those up, and man, that's nice. Just, you know, you wonder. You wonder. Is it something you did? Is it a piece of metal? You know. Okay. In a minute. All right, well, same process over here. And we still have a gap. Seems like it's different though, I don't know. Got something missing right in here. I'm gonna put this piece in. See how this goes. It's interesting that that side is not as shiny as that side. Painted that outside in the sun. Not really in the sun, but you know, it was outside. So, all right, I'm gonna put this piece in. Take it over here, maybe, hopefully. Just never. Oh. Okay, that's in. Simple enough. Okay, what's going to happen now, that's basically what I need to fit the quarters to. Put the back panel in, which I'll probably do that right now. Start moving things around so I can fit that big piece of, you know, sheet metal. You know, look at that. Look how shiny and nice and pretty that is. Now, I will confess, on the mixture on the back of that panel, I didn't wait the full 30 minutes for it to, you know, mesh. And I probably didn't wait the full hour between coats. You know, underside, not getting exposed to anything, not putting any body filler on it, but wow, it almost looks like a car. Look at that. Nowhere close to where it needs to be. Let me get a couple Clecos. See, this I'm still messing with. It don't work so well that way. That has 801 holes right here. Hopefully one fits. And this is why I wanted to get a good epoxy on it. See? Here in Florida, you tend to sweat. Then you wonder why everything's rusty. I think I know why I have a bunch of little dings up there. Plant. So, it's coming together. Don't like that. That's okay. Kind of. Don't like that. It's not flush. You know, they got a curve that goes, and then it goes, I mean, come on. All right, I'm gonna piddle around, line things up. Be back in a minute. Well, things are kind of sitting there, and got the deck lid on. Nothing's really changed. Tight here, big here. I really can't go any closer than that, and needs to be raised up. Well, this actually needs to be lowered some right there. I need to reclamp that. This one's actually good. Might be a little low. You see, look. That's gonna be fine. But we're making progress, right? And well, we've got stuff together. As you can see, we got these in. You know, not flush because we wanted this line straight, but as you see right here, this goes whoop, sticks out that way. So we had to move it over, which did that. And of course this one's, you know, still fighting. Put that big old gap right there. It needs to go in and then indent. So I'm guessing it's not doing that at the moment. We'll have to work on that. We don't line back up where we used to be when the other panel was in there. And let me put the deck lid on, and I'm sure nothing's changed. So, roughly the same gap. It's still too high, even though I pushed down really hard. This one's good, good. Gap's too big. But again, I mean, go that way and then go this way. How are you supposed to make that look good? I mean, really? We'd have to come out and cut that much off. We're close. See what I mean? That little wooby out right there like that. You know, we can make that work somehow. Tight and then huge. Huge. Oh, I gotta figure out where the problem is here and what to fix it with. But just stand way back over here. There, now it doesn't look so bad. Does it? See you in a bit. Alright, you guys. It's been a little bit, a couple weeks maybe. Came back to this problem. You know, this problem. Refitted the hood again. Redid my tape. Working on this rear body panel. Gotta be inventive when you know, pushing stuff around. Maybe a little anchor right there. The problem I was having is this panel wasn't lining up where the old panel was. That side was sucking in a lot, but that was indicative, I think, of what I had to do to that panel on the end, and that is I had to drive this in. So I was thinking this panel was mounted wrong or it was a bad stamping. That's why I bought that panel, you know. But trying to fit that panel has been fun. If you don't let it line up in the old holes that this was in, that corner fits better, but still not great. But if you also look down the side of this panel, you see that this sticks out farther than that, just sitting there. Now, is that the way it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be like this, straight up and down, but then that's not. See what I'm getting at here? I don't remember what it looked like. I don't ever remember that. Had to really look back in the old videos, but if you put a level And I'm not saying these are level, but if you put a level on the end of the tail light, okay, that's where that is, which means that's kicked out. This is level. See? See where I'm going with that? So it's only taken me 2 months to look at that and figure that out. Maybe. It still could be completely wrong, but that's how that panel's sitting in there right now. Now what I'm gonna do, because it's clamped in the bottom, we don't have anything holding it here or here. This gap's still good, but too big according to this one. Yeah, we might have to deal with that, because I can't widen this anymore here, you see. And the reason being is this little doodad right here. That keeps the quarters from letting you widen it any farther. Is that in the right spot? Don't know. It's aftermarket. So I'm gonna put the deck lid on, see where that's sitting, because when you push a panel out, put more of a bend in it, you suck things in. And we were already really tight right there. So we just make our problem worse, you see. Yeah. Back online. Now let's square the hole. And that's flat, but our tape's off. Where's our tape off? Did it move before I realized it? That's too tight. What I've done. What I've done is jack things around. I've got pressure pushing this thing this way. Meaning, am I making, I'm using the camera as one hand. Am I taking something that's square and doing this to it, making a diamond? Or is it a diamond that I'm making it square? You know what I mean? Because this was tight. Although we did have a good gap on this side. I gotta use my little thingy. Try to, I don't know if I can get that now. Okay, that's, see, what we're looking at also here is the lip of the deck lid needs to be flush with this. Molding goes on top. I don't know where my molding is right now. And can't seem to, I had a gap there, see, like that. I had one. So we just kind of got to work with it. I had a little bit, that's okay, but that's not what I had. See, now my tape's off. That's okay, that's okay. This tape is off. You see that? That end, looks like the end is rolled in a little bit this way. You know, it comes down, and then goes back this way, right there. So if I line that tape up even more, look how far back that is now. Now I know I didn't have it there. So what may be happening, that's okay. That's a little tight. Can fix that. I mean, you know what we do to fix that. Yeah, this is the dilemma still. And it's even tighter than it was. So, what do we do? What do we do? Well, first off, we need to bring this back in spec because that's not cool right there. But that's okay. See, when you show you, we'll put this right here. This is what you need to measure by, because this is not level. You see a little daylight. I can't get this panel to do what I want. And it's also, it's down where it needs to be. So got a little something funky happening here. I tried to see if I could maybe bend the trunk sealer lip up to help pick it up, but it's double paneled under there. Remember when we put that together? But that's nice and flat, see? We're pretty close. So, you know, things we got to deal with so far. Anyway, back to the paint stick. So bring the paint stick in, pick that up where that's pretty close to level, and see what it does to the quarter panel. No, that's a no bueno. But what I'm checking is this gap. So the gap's pretty big. You want to check from the corner here to the corner here, because eventually this is going to be where it needs to be. A lot of things going on. I've called in the cavalry. Okay, so now that lines up. To look at this and see what I'm missing. Could be just a bad quarter and I gotta just make it fit. Don't know. See, now that's not fitting again. So if I get it square to the back panel, that's when everything else goes awry. See, so now we're getting tighter, we're getting bigger. So yeah, I've got pressure on it pushing back on this panel. I'm going to put a couple Clecos in to lock that in, hopefully, or maybe just a screw, and then let loose on the little jack I've got inside there and see if things kind of settle out. Be right back. Alright, so first thing I've noticed, I got my bottom secured. I don't have that released yet. I don't have anything holding this or this. First thing I noticed, this gap got a little bit bigger. And you know, looking at it, you can tell kind of a quarter panel issue, because you know we've got this to deal with, this little corner here. And just to check to see if we were diamond shaped, I went ahead and did a little measuring, and I went from right here. And if you can do that one-handed, more power to you. Anyway, hold on. So lock that in the same place, then bring it over and have that happen about 3 times before you get frustrated and throw your tape measure. Okay, so what we do is just kind of eyeball where the edge of that corner is, and wherever it's the longest is your measurement. So it's 58.5. Go to roughly the same spot on the other side, and I went right there at that seam. Okay? So, what do we see here? 58.5. That's dead on. That's really scary, because you have probably a 1/4 inch of tolerance in these old cars. But at the same time, I've got pressure on that. So let's see if things stay. Throw that over here in this pile. Let's measure it real quick. And we only need to take one measurement to know. Interesting. This is like a 16th in. A 16th. So, and we're measuring off of this, so we could realistically, well, it's not pushing anywhere. All right, let's put the trunk on. So my tape is off now. Level here. Tape's no longer straight across. I don't know if that's any bigger or not. No longer straight across. We need to see if we fix this gap, we mess up this gap. This gap's easier to fix than this gap. So back to the drawing board. It seems like that's getting worse. I don't know. So I'd say it's pretty even, but my tape's off. It's because I was concentrating on this gap here. That's a little better looking. Let's see, what do I do with it? No gap. Gap's off. Gap's fine. Tape's in line, and I think we could live with that. Still no gap. Let's fix that gap. No gap. Fix that big gap. See, that one's the problem. I can't just cut that off or shave that. Or could I? Well, no, I can't, because the molding will be too long. Well, that one's just cut off. Looks pretty ugly. Huh. Alright, well, I've called in reinforcements. And he may be here Thursday to kind of look over and see what I'm missing, or if this is just what I got to deal with and I got to make it work, fit, or something. And I think that's probably what's going to have to happen, because I got to make it fit. Yeah. I think we'll loosen that up. Oh well. Alright, that's where we are. I'll let you know. Sorry, one other thing. We were talking about the angle of the tail light and the angle of that rear body panel. I think we went over this before. Now that I'm... Anyway, we're going over it again. See, the trunk lid sticks out. So that makes it about the same as the tail light. Yeah, roughly. Okay. But if we give it an eyeball down the back side, fans probably making noise. Give it an eyeball. Now we're looking through. I can't see the trunk. The trunk's in farther. The deck lid, I mean, is in farther than the tail light. The rear body panel. Yeah. You line it up. I don't know if you can even see. If you line that up, sight it down through here, line up your two tail lights, and sight that panel. Anyway, it's got a little more of an angle, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. See you in a minute. Alright, another little thing I needed to point out, because I kicked this panel out at the bottom, like the other one was, it's pushing the bottom of the tail light out. And no, it doesn't push back in. If I were to tighten that up, square that, this would be sticking out even farther. That's my problem. So, gonna have another pair of eyes look at it. See what he says. Okay, well, I had the other pair of eyes look at it, and we're pretty much in agreement that this is messed up somehow. You gotta joke, otherwise it'll drive you crazy. Basically, what I have to do is, like I pushed this side forward on this panel, I have to do it on that panel again. I'm going to do it a little bit differently because that panel's not welded into place. I'm going to take it out and work on that area, put it back in, refit it, blah, blah, blah. We also came and agreed that this here goes out like that, and since there's no gap here for the trunk lid, you know, the trunk lid's right up against it, that we need to get this moved out somehow and then deal with the big gap up there somehow. Now, the problem that I was having, being able to move anything out, and, you know, yeah, that's going to widen this gap up probably like that. But what I'll have to do then is just slide the whole panel that way, like I was trying to do before and not having a lot of luck because I was having a mind block, and these little tabs right here keep that panel from sliding that way because it hits right here. So you'd have to move the whole quarter with it. Easier said than done, and you know, this whole fiasco is easier said than done. But we're gonna pick at it. We're gonna get 1/16 of an inch by 1/16 of an inch and see what we come up with, because you know, that's not working. And yeah, it's bolted at the bottom, and you see what happens here. Even when this is flush, when we push the bottom of this panel in, this is flush, this still has a little bit of a gap. You can kind of see, as far as the straightness to here, and it's a little bit of an optical illusion, but this on the quarter isn't straight. And I believe I pointed this out before. It actually goes and turns that way, right about there. You kind of look at it. So, well, that's interesting. I'm going to play with that a little bit more right at the moment. Yeah, I'm gonna play with that. I'm gonna put the deck lid on. Let me look at something real quick. You know, you have an aha moment sometimes. Maybe it'll work. Okay. It's not my aha moment. That's not the... I'm talking to myself, sorry. What I was thinking is if, cut that, bring that to meet that. That makes more sense as far as where that is, and I don't have to beat that in. But you can see, I mean, it's fairly straight until, I mean, it just tapers in. But it really takes a turn, you know, right there, roughly. All right, I'm gonna mess with it before I cut. So what I've been trying not to do is just cut everything up. Be right back. Well, this is several hours later. We've got a happy medium, I think, that we can then build off of. This panel is completely loose. As you can see, we're back in that way. I measured from the inside, from the corner of the floor. Anyway, the floor comes out, straight out from here, and then goes down. So that bend, I measured from the inside of this panel, the inside of this panel on this end. We have a difference of maybe that much. That would be 67 tolerances. So we're gonna let that go. I will have to trim this, obviously. Let that go too, as much as I hate it. So this, once this went in, this came together much easier. It did bolt together. Little force, not too much, but you still see we have that little gap there we're going to have to tend with, as well as we have the little hook we're going to have to tend with, just like we do on this side. Little hook. Okay, so our gap is about the same on this side as it is on this side. These gaps are the same. Okay. We're close enough. This gap up here is a little tighter up there than it is here, because I'm paying attention to the end of the deck lid and where that meets the light. So that little pointer, see, right there, hope you can see, that's pretty much flush, and I've already worked the edge of the trunk lid as much as I think I can, and that one's pretty well flush. Okay, the angle of that goes down and meets that here, and not so much here. Always something. But, you know, a piece of trim goes on the deck lid, a piece of trim goes here. Not something that you're gonna see. That's what everybody said. Nobody else will see it. I will. But I'm not making a Riddler car here. So, something to work with. I'll have to obviously cut this, bring that in, cut that, bring that out, and add to the deck lid to make my little gaps on both sides. I was going to bring it this way and think, well, I'll just do one side. And I may still do that, but I'm thinking that'll unbalance things in some way. I don't know. But I'll think about that. May just still do the one side, which I can shift it either side and do it whatever way. Also, there's the jack, my little big clamp jack, you know that. I put from my frame rail to this corner to get this gap. So that's how we did that. So the next thing is to secure all this. The taillights are tightened in a couple of nuts, and that's all that's really holding that. So once I start moving forward some more, I'll be right back. All right, well, we're going to continue building off of what we've done, and unfortunately these old spot weld holes that I used to drill out the spot welds on the old panel, as you can see, will not line up on the new panel completely. So I've got to come back here and drill holes in between, and I'm not taking that panel back out, okay? So I've decided to just work my way down, create a little space as best I can, and drill a little pilot hole, and then drill the other hole the rest of the way. And yeah, that's going to create little burrs on this side, unfortunately, but you know, we're going to work around it. We're just going to continue plugging away. So here we go. Great. Issue. See where our spot welds were. Perfect position. Now they have to be here. That's where they were. Now they have to be here. Aggravating. Oh well. Can't always be perfect. Especially not this. Something makes me wonder, because my spot weld is really close right here. A little farther off through here. You know, I see that after I've drilled new holes. If I could spot weld that in place, and then push the center out to here. I'm gonna have to look at that a little bit. How are we? Actually, could need that to happen, because that's not as close as it seems like it should be. And this is Gee, you think maybe they didn't make quite enough bend in the middle of that? I know that's too close. But I've got to leave that where it is, so that to even come close to fitting. All right, we'll probably end up doing that. Spot weld it there, spot weld it there. Push it out in the center. See, that's not gonna bend worth a crud. But hey, only time will tell, so we'll see in a minute. Alrighty then. Gonna do a little welding real quick. See if my theory works. Hopefully the welding works. Clicos. Stay there. I'm trying to keep my gap going. I let this jack off in here. Yeah, jack off. See weird things happen. Fortunately. So gap is still here. We welded that. So that's held in place. We move this back out. So we drilled holes for nothing. Not the first. Let's check it from this way. Yeah, it looks like it tilts out some. Is that the way we want that? I don't know. We went over this before, but at the same time, is this any better? This isn't necessarily better. It's tighter here, wider here, and probably what's happening, oh, I don't even want to think about this, is we've got it pushed out back here where it needs to be. We need to anchor that and then push it out at the top. Well, we all know what happens then. Our gap comes in, which, you know, in this case would be hugely negative, but it's not going to it's not going to come in even. It's going to taper, I think. Now, the only one way to find out, that is, we've got a clamp on here. Hopefully that holds. Get another one. This one. I don't know if you saw that or not, but clamp there, up here, and we probably moved it that much-ish. Getting the wobble head happening, camera's moving. Bobblehead, sorry. Camera's getting hot too. I gotta shut off. All right, down to 5%. Be right back. All right, new battery. Yeah, I don't know. I put the trunk lid on. See what it looks like. Well, we just barely have gap. And maybe if I take the paint off this one like I did that one, I'll have gap. This, much better. Much more smoother. Don't know. That bottom needs to be that far out. You know what I mean? I need to research that before I go make that permanent again. See if I can get an angle. More research. Be back. Okay, we're back again. Oh, it's just frustrating. I mean, we make gains, okay. This quarter's messed up. We've got that gap, great. Trying to set the back panel. I currently have a jack from the inside pushing out on the top right here to make this come level, right here, as best I can. Got a genius idea of still using the level, but anyway, what I did is I leveled the car, all right, so I can get the level of the rear panel. And yeah, it looks like to me from here that sticks out too far at the bottom. Okay, great. Let's check it. Nope, not according to being level with the car. That's good right there. This, right there, these two moldings. Can you see that? Can you see how close to level that is? These aren't, so we can't obviously use those anymore. I tried to eyeball the tail light in there. Tail light's not perfectly straight, but anyway, that's a waste of time. So level over there seemed to be, let's check it again, level, because I actually let it move in some, all right? It's close to level, it's not perfect. Check this, that is not. That taillight is not in the same place, okay? It needs to come out that far, which that's about right. And that is not level, needs to come out that far, which is roughly 1/4 inch. This here, pretty close to level, okay? What is wrong? Something's wrong somewhere, and I can't find it. I just went ahead and measured, okay, well, maybe this is crooked since that's crooked. I measured from here across the wheel well, and it came to 80.5 inches. So did the other side. I'm like, man. And the reason I asked that, or thought that, was because if I move this panel and kick it back out where it was to level it up and level this up, the light's going to tilt again. So if it tilts, that means it was teetering here and here. So that would mean I'd have to bring this way. Whatever it's bolting to here would have to come this way to make it not teeter. So that's why I measured the quarter. So okay, maybe that line dips in. It's not dipping. And yeah, there'll be a point of I'll do the happy mediums and just send it. But I hate doing that. I want to know where the problem is. So, and I've looked at the rear ends of other cars and pictures. Nobody gives you this picture here, okay? It's always this. So, let me think some more. And we're back again. I don't even know where I left you. Anyway, as things snowball, I've got a happy medium on, well, I call it a happy medium, on the rear body panel. We'll look at this right here. Deck lid's on. Da-da-da. And, you know, that equates to about 8 of an inch-ish. So, let me check my level over here. I've been messing around with the bumper and I could have moved things, which yeah, front needs to come up, it looks like. So probably settled on me, you know, this is not the best jack to be just leaving that way. Let's check that again. Maybe go a smidge bit more. Oh. Not a lot of difference. Where it was to where it is now. Okay, that looks good. You guys are seeing it sideways. So, we're back there. What I'm doing is, like I said, squaring the bumper with the rear body panel. That's better. Now we're straight up and down. Ish. It's always an ish with a bubble. Dilemma that I had. I was fitting the bumper to the light, had the bumper sticking out probably this far, which is too far. Had a gap in here, didn't like that. But realized that this bracket here that bolts through this hole is right up against my frame bracket that I cut off the old frame and put on my new back half. Did I put it in the wrong spot? Probably, yeah. You measure, you use plumb bobs, you know. So, I'm trying to see the easiest way to make this work, because I'm going to refit this bumper anyway. I've looked at some other pictures of other cars, how their bumpers are. Don't know if they made the bumpers fit or not. You know, when I say that, tucked them. And that's all relative as far as what you want it to look like. Let me see. Yeah, here's one, for example. This SS, and yeah, it's missing the deck lid molding, by the way. You know, you can't tell how far that edge goes in, but you can see right here how far that bumper's tucked. And mine isn't tucked that far. So realistically, we need that edge to be at least right here. But that's okay. That would actually match this edge. You can't really see because of the shadow. You get a light. Can you see that? Anyway, that's the edge right here. There where my finger is. And it's kind of straight in line with that. Keeping in mind that we have a molding that goes on here like so. Okay. So that's, yeah, that's tucked back in there. All right, and so what I was thinking on my tips, see that this right here is not good. This sticks out too far. Nothing I can do about it, but I was going to cut my bumper, like pie cut it here, roughly, tuck this in, like so, get that nice, come out here, probably cut it down this way, take a section out, move this in, so that's more flush, probably cut down through here to extend this out. I don't know, that's, you know, whole another deal. But what that would do is get this edge flush with this. And we're just putting in the rear body panel. That's all we're doing. So this side I have not adjusted, as you can see. What I had to do, if there was a bigger gap here, I put a couple of shims in this bolt here, and they're really only maybe 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. To tilt it. It doesn't like that, because this is what it does. So then you have to get on this side, because you have the brackets that come in this way, and then you have to tilt them up to straighten them out. Now, it's all possible, but now you've got a big twist on your bumper. So what I am probably going to end up doing is the bracket here, okay, which is riveted on. Probably going to just take it off, so then I can work the bumper a little more easily, and then I can either make a new bracket, or, because all it's doing is keeping the center from flopping around, really. It's also where your license my license plate bolts to the bumper, so that's not affected. Just gives it a little rigidity in this area, but that's fine. That would be easier to do than moving the whole back piece of my frame rail in. But we've gone over that, I think, before. So, yeah. We've got the trunk locked in place with blue tape to keep our levelness here. And I'm going to stop yammering because this is boring as crap, but this is the problem that you run into fitting all your parts together. Because 1/4 panel fits good, 1/4 panel doesn't. 1/4 panel fits good up there. 1/4 panel, well, and see this I don't understand this. I fit the doors to the old quarters, okay? And when I was doing that, I was measuring from here to there and getting like 1/8 of an inch difference. But they were the old quarters. I figured, well, something's wrong with the skin that I put on. Well, now, as this door is shorter than that door, I need 1/8 of an inch right there. And that will make that gap perfect. It's just crazy stuff. So, okay, I'm gonna keep plugging, probably just take the bumper off, chisel the center brace out of it, refit things. I'll have to elongate the holes in the bumper bracket, because if my frame piece is back, well then my holes are back, and there's not a lot of adjustment in those holes at all. So I'll get that off, we'll see where we go. All right, so bumper's back off, and this is the bracket. That's the rivet that holds the bracket on. Quite a little ordeal from this side. I know that it's off as far as my frame rail part being this far forward, because this up here, I guess it touches or comes close to this rear trunk reinforcement part. Anyway, it's about that far away from it. I don't know if it's supposed to touch or it's just supposed to be close. I'm assuming just close. Wouldn't think it was supposed to rub on it, but hey, who knows? You know, and the funny thing is, those line up, the distance is good and all that fun stuff. I didn't put this piece in, I left my quarters on, so I knew where I needed to be. It's like I said, it's, you know, just, you got to build it, fabricate it, make it fit. That's all you can do. So I'm gonna start grinding out my rivets. So we'll see in a minute. We'll grind these heads off. Ding. There we go. A puppy. Right there. Grind that off some more. Okay. So. Now what has to be done? This hole is going to have to be elongated this direction and this one as well, but I'm going to use, since there's two of them there, that's the bracket, I'm going to elongate the hole in the frame, I believe. Let me look at that before I speak. Need a light. Okay, that one's elongated, right? Figure out where I am. Okay, this one's elongated up and down. This is the other one. It's elongated up and down, unfortunately. So I can't really do this one this way. This one's fine. So I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. So this one's up and down, so I can't go back and forth. I'll have to go this way with this one on the bumper bracket. Everything is just the opposite of what you need. You know, why did they make this one this way? Right? And this one this way. You can't move it this way. All you can do is this. I don't understand. See? Up and down. Well, I guess. Is because, you know, their crap was right. Mine's not. But obviously, up and down, and neither wasn't right. Okay. Gotta figure it out. This may get eliminated anyway. Alright. So, kind of got the bumper on there. Kind of just sitting where we can get it. Can't go in any farther. The bracket is hitting the bottom of the brace that runs across, the body brace. So we would have to notch the bracket to make that go in any farther. Okay. Other issue probably gonna have is I don't have much room left right there from here to the rear body panel. Got plenty here. Okay. Got a little bit more here. So I think I can get that right there once I notch the brackets. The other thing I'm going to do, final decision, is the level of this is there. The level of this is there. So for me to make that even, I have to go in the bottom about that much, about 1/8 of an inch in that way. That also actually helps close this little gap right here when I push it in. This I'm going to leave hopefully in the same position that it is, which is almost vertical. Okay, because we need it. This isn't you know, like that. So I have to take the bumper back off to be able to push this in. I've got a screw holding it here. Oh, exactly right there. So I need to remove this screw, push this in, and hold that in position and be done with that part. And then I'll work on the brackets and put the bumper back on. Well, see you in a minute, I guess, or something, or you can watch me real quick. That hurt. It's equal on both sides. Go figure. And we close this gap right here. There's no bolt, no nut on that stud right there. So sometimes you get a mental block and you just don't listen. That's me anyway. So, all right. This should still be in the same spot-ish. It's off a bit. Just to come out. That needs to come out some. So I'm going to run a screw in there. got a screw. Need to check the level of the car again in case something moves, because I've been pushing on it quite a lot. And yeah, that looks fine. Put that back. Level is what? Eighth of an inch. We'll see. So that one's set. That one's been welded in, so that one's set. I've got right here, I've got the jack pushing out on the top, so this is flush. Okay, I'm gonna measure this stuff out, trim it back probably half an inch-ish. Notch these, they're hitting, should have marked it, but that's fine. I can swing it back up actually after I trim this off and mark that, and then have to trim that. And we're really close here. This all may get trimmed. See you in a minute. Okay, that's ground off. That's got a nice sharp edge, and we're gonna work on that. See if we can fit the bumper. All right, got my little spots marked. I'm just gonna cut that out. I'll reinforce it later. So let's get busy. Smell the hair burning off my arm on that one. See you in a minute. Okay, you guys, gotta end this video at some point because it's just snowballing and going crazy. All right, we got the bumper fit. As far as me moving it in and all that, that's a whole different video. That's you know, customizing, fitting a bumper. We've got this panel where we want it. Got our lights fitting. Okay, we've got our gap. That's good. Maybe push this out that little, you know, eighth of an inch before I weld it. But that's where we want it, right there. Or that's where it's fitting, let's put it that way. So, thanks for watching. See you on the next video, and don't forget to like and subscribe.